All right, everybody, that's going to wrap up that episode with Mr. Don Cicero. Jacob, what did you think about it?
It was awesome. I mean, like the first 10 minutes, he starts talking like bumping, dumping, and pushing deer. And oh man,
yeah.
that guy, we're over here dancing. We need to start filming ourselves when we're recording these episodes.
Oh, yeah, we're trying to contain our excitement.
Silently freaking out.
Casually mentions, he's like, yeah, we bumped him out of his bed and got in his bed and killed him. I was like, what?
Yeah, that was
hear more about that.
That was awesome.
Right off the bat, I already said this to you, but I think we should do one in person with him, maybe in season, because there's so much that I wanted to ask him, but I didn't want to interrupt him. So I think that in person you could get a lot more questions in. But man, that was good. Mm-hmm. It was good, for real.
I mean, he's killed a lot of deer, a lot of good deer, and killed them multiple different ways. You know, from on the ground hunting. You know, the part he was talking about where he got in like the actual cutover, like the 10-foot pines, and found where like the deer were like jumping over like some honeysuckle.
Yeah.
And he could hear them, and he was sitting on a chair in that stuff and shot them like at 10 yards, 15 yards. That is the coolest freaking thing, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that is just so cool. And it's using the habitat and the terrain to your advantage no matter what it is, whether you're 25 foot up a pine tree or you're freaking on the ground and you're just, tucked up in some stuff. That is really, really cool. It shows one thing it really showed me about Don is how versatile he is. He's not stuck like he only does a certain thing. Mm-hmm. He's like, man, if the sign's there, I'm hunting it. If it's fresh sign,
oh yeah,
and it's shown that it's a mature deer and it's a big buck, maybe do an observation set, and then I'm diving into it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that is what I want to hear. Because there's so many things out there right now with, like, guys going out, especially, you start getting to, like, some of the Midwest topics and, like, talking about glassing deer and doing observation sets. His observation sets are much different. He might just be backed off that bedding thicket and just kind of seeing from, 100 yards out, 50 yards out, whatever, where the deer are coming out and kind of what's going on, especially early season with the bachelor groups. And I'm like, man, that just hits home. Because especially like what he was saying early season, a lot of these bucks and these bachelor groups are kind of staying, in a little bit more open cover, kind of a little bit lower elevation, kind of where it's a little cooler, got some drafts going, and it just got my, got my heart rate going, dude. Got me all jacked up because I'm like thinking I found spots like that before, where maybe I was a week or two late to that spot while they were still bachelored up. Yeah. And I think that's gonna be a huge thing that I want to focus on is that transition in September when these bachelor groups start shedding velvet and they start leaving sign in like late September right before season comes in, finding that stuff and getting ready to hunt it October 15th, October 16th, right when season's opening up.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, again, across the board, I think guys could be doing that across the Southeast. That is awesome.
Yeah. He gave me a lot of confidence in early season hunting like hardwood areas. Because we spend so much time on the pine thickets and everything that it's like early season, I'm like, well, are they going to be in those or what? So I don't know. It was good to hear that he's killed so many bucks in like a hardwood setting, especially early season. And I've already got some spots in mind. In fact, like while he was talking about them, I went and looked at some maps because I had these spots in mind. So I'm like, I want to put my eyes on this while he's talking about it and see what I can come up with. So that, and another thing that popped in my head where he kept talking about tracks crossing roads and going and finding fresh sign off roads based on that. I think a lot about when season gets here, like how I'm going to like use my time, like as far as hunting goes, because I'm not going to be able to hunt as much as I have in past years. And I think that going out and driving after work, like after a rain rolls through, going out after work, going straight out there, I don't even have to like get out really, just like see where the tracks are and everything and kind of go from there. And that way, during the week, when I can't really hunt, I can, take a day or two during the week and just go drive for an hour out there, see what's going on as far as tracks crossing the road, figure out, like, okay, yeah, the deer are kind of in this area right now. And then come Saturday when I can get out there and hunt them, I got a good starting point. I'm not just going in blind based on nothing.
No, I think that's a really good point. And, thinking about that is finding these areas where, there are, quite a few deer crossing the road. But really, like I said, driving the roads, especially maybe in the mornings and trying to see where bucks are going back to bed and see if you can find some fresh tracks, like you said, after a rainstorm over the night on the way to work or something like that. Just leave the house, 45 minutes early, an hour early, whatever, and go drive some roads. That actually could pay off. I mean,
big time.
Big time, especially if, like, maybe you can't get out and hang a camera right there, but you see maybe in a week time span, maybe you do it every morning, okay, for a week.
Yeah.
And you kind of see this happening multiple times, you're like, okay, I've got an idea. This looks very, very interesting. Maybe trying to dive onto it. And I mean, again, he talked about doing that, just off some logging roads as well, just finding and cutting tracks on logging roads. But Don's such an interesting character. I mean, he has so much experience from hunting public land and just hunting in general, especially with a bow. To me, it's a different perspective. A guy like him that's been bow hunting exclusively since '89. What I would think of as some awesome rifle spots where you can shoot 40, 50 yards is not going to be key for him. He's going to have to, he's talking about getting in his ideal shot 15 yards. So you're getting in close.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just a different game. It's
Top
a different
10
animal.
territory.
Yeah. This is a different experience in general. And that's the kind of guy I like talking to, because to be that good of a woodsman, to get that close to the deer, get climbed up in the tree quietly, and get set up and ready to shoot something is just, that takes skill, it takes practice.
Oh, yeah.
And it takes confidence in what you're doing and also in your equipment.
That's one thing this fall that actually me and Mark were talking about today, is the whole aspect of like taking your time when you're walking into places and kind of like not setting up fast, not being rushed and everything. Oh, yeah, you were there too when we were talking about it. I thought you hadn't got there yet.
Thanks, man. Just taking out the conversation.
just forgot you were there. But, I mean, hey, we've got some pretty good starting points on all this. Like the area where you and Michael scouted the other day, and you drove through, and there was no tracks, and then it rained, and you drove back through, and then there's a bunch of tracks right there. That's like the kind of area I'm thinking about. But really, that specific spot too, because I noticed it last year, and now it's still like, even in the summertime, there's still a bunch of deer right there. So, like spots like that, you can just go and drive through it, check it out.
Another thing he said that kind of caught my eye is when I gave him trying to break down the spot that I had found where I found the deadhead and everything in those pines, and he was talking about like finding an opening in that stuff, and like hunting, like something about like those openings that it just like draws those deer to it. And a couple things jumped to mind, not necessarily in that spot, but some other areas that have like some of these openings with some mature trees close by that you can kind of get up in. And
oh, yeah,
that might be really cool spots, especially put cameras out. Not only just run cameras, but also just maybe as hunting locations as well. So that's really, really interesting. And again, he had so many really cool perspectives. From hunting from the ground, from buck sign, how he's backtracking the buck. That's one of the coolest thing I thought he said was how he finds that rub line, backtracks that buck to a likely bedding area, actually finds his bed, and then hunts it accordingly. That's something. We talked about this in the South. That you, me, and Michael Pike have talked about how we haven't thought hunting individual buck beds would be productive. And maybe there's times where it's not, but it seems like Don is having quite a bit of success locating that major bedding area and that major bed that buck's using in the Southeast and on public lands, public land parcels across the country or across the state itself. So that's interesting because he's one of the first guys I've heard say that, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
So because I know Michael's talked about it a little bit, but Don talking about all these different management areas that he's hunted, all these different national forests that he's hunted, and it seems consistent. He finds that buck bed, and whether it's even during the rut or early season, he's able to find that deer and get in and try to kill him.
Yeah.
So that is freaking cool.
Got me fired.
And also, he got me real fired up when he's talking about hunting those doe bedding areas and getting thick in those pines and just getting up. And he's like, dude, you got to just sit still because you never know, what can pick you out. I'm like, ooh. Like, those spots are always tough because I'm terrible about sitting still. I really am. But, again, that's really, really cool situations. Man, we got Bridger in here just making all
Bridger
kinds
makes all. Bridger, come here. Come here, bud.
That's Bridge.
That's Bridger. He makes noise every time we have a podcast. Now he's gnawing on me.
Yep. But
he's a good little pup, though.
Anyway, I'm trying. Well, what else did you get out of the episode that you thought that we could definitely try to apply? I'll tell you one thing. His thoughts on overlooked spots, I thought was spot
that's
on.
what I was about to say.
When he talked about the one spot where he pulls up at the gate and literally in that doe bedding area, he can actually see or possibly shoot his truck from that spot. That is something that I'm very, very interested in. It's trying to find those spots because there is so many guys. We talked about that so much on the show and just with other people that so many people think a buck in an isolated location. We talked about this with Josh Driver as well. Is the farthest point from the access. And it's not always the case because a lot of guys are willing to walk, especially if it's down as a logging road or something, or take a bike in or whatever. But a lot of times that isolation in that thick overlooked spot is so much closer to you than what you realize. And this right here, look, where are we at? Hold on, we got the map pulled up. Oh, we're not looking at the spot I was going to show. Where's that? Right here. So this bend, you can't see, it's on your map you did. Where that big bend comes, inside of that bend, I feel is like, oh, there you go. Beautiful. Right here. That right there. That's it. That's it, dude. 100%. Now, I'm not going to tell anybody where I'm looking at right now on these maps, but that is it, dude. 100%.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's a great point. We were talking about it earlier where I want to do a project this summer where I'll take 2 or 3 cameras and go and look at spots that just absolutely do not get me fired up. I'm just like, why would I put a camera right there? And then, but also I'm going to try to look at it from the perspective of like kind of your average like weekend warrior and kind of with, because, you know, we're familiar with this parcel. So it's like, what does everyone else normally hunt? And so then I can look at it from that view, and if I don't want to go look at it because I think it looks terrible, but I also don't think that other people want to look at it, then maybe it's a good overlooked spot. So I'm going to try and just like force myself to put cameras basically where I really don't feel like putting cameras and just see what happens. Maybe there'll be nothing.
You know what I'm seeing right there?
What?
A southeast wind would be killer.
Oh, yeah, sure would.
Coming in from the west.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
Drop right down
early season. Listen, and that is some nasty stuff.
Some pure nastiness.
I mean, thick stuff. But like you said, that's a really good thought. Is like not really. I wouldn't say what doesn't get me fired up because now what gets me fired up is a different perspective.
Yeah.
Even just before this episode, what is things that when you drive by it's if you were kind of thinking how you thought 3 years ago, it wouldn't get you excited. That's what now gets me excited. Like thick cover, nasty cover, stuff that's on the road, no parking spots, hard places to park. There's no parking areas, there's no gates, nothing like that. Those are the spots that I feel are just money looking at this.
Oh yeah.
And talking to Don, that's exactly kind of what I got out of it. It's like, man, and you know what, another thing, listen to his episode. This episode right here, which I think is going to be episode, I need to look it up.
178.
178. Dang, man.
That's a freaking ton of episodes.
We're pushing up 200. Holy.
We got to do something. I need to plan out and try to figure out around when 200 is going to be, and we need to do like a big thing for it.
That would be awesome. Yeah, 178. So, one thing that kind of hit my mind when we were talking about this is Adrian Farley's episode 125. Where he's talking about hunting thickets right off the road. Yeah. And like guys,
I think him and Adrian know each other.
He told me he's talked to Adrian quite a bit, but they're very, very similar. You know, Adrian hunts very close to road access in very overlooked spots where deer are either crossing the roads in these very thickets, these tight thickets, over a saddle, or they're running the roads. These big bucks are like running these roads in these super thick areas, and it sounded very similar to like what Don was talking about. So if anyone wants even more content talking about this in like thick areas, you need to listen to Adrian Farley's episode 125, it was a fun one as well. And he's another guy that's kind of in the same region, hunts a lot of the same properties that Don has hunted. But yeah, that's just a really cool perspective. I mean, it's just overlooked spots. We talk about it all the time. A lot of people talk about it all the time. But when you hear a guy like Don and how he's finding some of these spots, it makes me think, I'm overlooking a lot of this stuff.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's like, because I know that I've got these biases in my mind where, like, one, I'm overthinking everything constantly all the time. Like, I guess that's kind of the nature of, like, either being, like, a big podcast listener or being, like, a podcast producer like we are. You get so much information that sometimes it's just like, holy crap.
Yeah, you can't do all of it.
Yeah, analysis paralysis. But that's why I really love talking to guys like Don, who's just like, quit thinking so hard.
Yeah, and he's like, it's so simple. He's like, it's so simple. His perspective, he's like, it's simple. He's like, I go out there, I'm not overthinking it. I'm finding fresh sign, and I'm hunting. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's so simple when you think about it. It's like, that's too simple. Like, what? Huh?
What? Yeah, that can't work.
What? You're not going in and sitting up on a bed and
You're not making sure that there's a 48-degree wind current coming through this holler at this trajectory?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know. It's really fascinating. But Anyway, I guess that's kind of a cool.
I loved
little
his
overview.
quote where he's like, I think that what he say is like, I think that we think about it a lot more than they do, or something like that, talking about
Oh yeah,
the whole betting and win and
yeah.
all that.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think he's right about that. Definitely. And what he said about like win-based betting, where it's like the win changes 6 times a day. There's no way that they could like figure that out. I don't think.
Yep.
If I can't figure it out, they dang sure
Yep,
can't.
it's kind of like Josh talks about. Josh Driver, again, we talk about Josh so much, but it's like they're betting in areas where they can use sight to their advantage if possible, but
Sound.
they're using sound, and they're using that thick cover to their back and a lot of times to their front as well. So anything that does come through there, they're going to hear it for sure.
Oh yeah.
Which again is just a cool perspective. But on other notes,
Well, as far as like what we've been doing, so we've talked about like over the last couple of weeks us like implementing these trail camera strategies. You went out, put some trail cameras out. Me, you, and Michael all put out trail cameras, and then of course last week you found the deadhead, which is interesting. And then now we've done a bunch of card pulls, and we got like we're all over bucks.
should I go pull those cards tomorrow?
Yeah,
It'll be just over a week.
why not? Sure. I mean, I don't know which cameras you're. Oh, where you found the deadhead?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm real curious about that. You should definitely go pull them. I'd love to see what's in those. But yeah, it's like I don't know. We got how many bucks on camera now?
Oh, I lost
I've
count.
got on mine on
5,
my one camera.
6?
I had 6 or more bucks, and 3 of them look pretty promising. One or two of them look pretty impressive. And then there's a third one that's kind of, I can't really tell. I didn't get the best angles of him, but he looks decent. He's got pretty good mass. But two bucks that already I'm pretty sure that I would definitely shoot. Especially that one who was like just staring like towards the camera.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, bam, like wide. He's going like, it looks like his antlers are going straight out.
That might be that big deal he got video of.
It could be.
Depending on how it grows out, because I mean that was a really wide buck.
Yeah, really wide.
And,
like he was impressive.
Yeah.
Oh,
20 plus inches.
oh yeah, I got them, and I got this big old fat pregnant doe on there,
Yep.
and 2 coyotes. So that doe's probably in trouble. Old fawn's actually probably already a coyote turd right now. Unfortunately,
It's part of a statistic.
they were all over it. I knew I was gonna have something. I brought Bridger in there to check the camera with me, and we got in there. He was wigged out. He did not like it. He was like sniffing everywhere. He's wanting to get out of there. Like he was smelling those coyotes.
Yeah.
They were all over that camera. I mean, like 6 times in 2 days.
Dude.
I'm like, she's about to drop that fawn, and they gonna eat it.
Listen, squirrel season comes in. We might need to sneak in there and
Pop some coyotes.
pop a couple coyotes.
I know. I should have called the biologist. Been like, man, can I please just go like slap a couple traps up on the road up here? I could have caught them. I bet you I could. I definitely could have caught those
we
things.
ought to try that. We ought to do that when it comes in. Because I've never trapped coyotes. I've only trapped coons before. Old dog-proof trap, so easy.
Yeah, dude. It's
Easiest
fun,
thing
man.
ever.
Michael, hey, where we found the bed and everything, where Michael, we talked about that last week. Michael pulled that camera. There's a nice buck on it.
We didn't talk about that. So Michael pulls a camera that was over. It was set up over this bed that we had found.
Yep.
And there is a very good looking buck. It's a younger buck, but it's a very good looking buck. Just like standing in that bed, which is pretty freaking cool. And I think he had a couple other shots of some other deer.
Let me find this thing. Where's this?
And a couple other smaller bucks came through, but that was really cool. So he had actually put the camera over the bed and got a picture of a pretty good buck.
Oh yeah, definitely a great buck. I mean, he's already got great length, great height. I mean, he has thrown a full rack. If he shed velvet right now, I'd shoot him. Like he's a pretty good buck.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still got a long time to grow.
That is a very good point. Like he's not gonna be super wide, but if he keeps growing height and some length on the main beam, that would be a really good deer.
I mean, he's already a buck that he's
got a big chest on him too.
He's already bigger than the buck I shot last year. I'm pretty sure. It's the time length, especially his G3s.
Look how big that brisket is. Look how big his chest is.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's a good buck, man. That's a real good buck. He's got good mass. I'm telling you. Like, if he's already that was on the 22nd of June. If he's already thrown that rack by this point, hopefully, I mean, I don't know. Maybe some deer just kind of don't grow as fast as others.
By the way, we need to buy about 15 more cameras and go put them out where you saw the giant last year.
Yeah, we do. I was thinking about putting a camera over there. I'm trying to figure out how many more cameras I got
We need no. Listen, we need to go. And for everybody out there, I don't know who all has been messing around with those Tasco cameras, but I have not. But everybody I talk to, they're like, "Oh man, they're awesome for $28 or whatever." I'm thinking about going and buy about 10 of them, like no joke. And that's a place where you need to put out 8, 9, 10 of them, probably.
where I filmed old Biggin.
Did the big freaking deer. Dude,
That was a big
that
deer.
was a hammer.
That was a big.
And
That's
listen,
the biggest deer I've ever filmed for sure. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not even close.
That was a big deer.
Huge deer.
Now, can
Was
you
it-
imagine? Hold on. Can you imagine the deer I saw in Tennessee though was much bigger than that deer?
Man, it gets bigger every time.
I'm
man.
just not, listen.
Who was it that you showed that to? And they're like, "That's a 200-inch deer." We're like, "Whoa, bud."
I won't say their name.
Okay.
I won't say their name, but yeah, someone did say that, and I'm like, no,
No. I wish.
Like,
That'd be cool.
You're probably about 60 inches off, 50 inches off, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Probably 50 inches off. But yeah.
Yeah, man, he was a great deer. God, he was a good deer.
Anyways, so one thing I want to talk about is Geo Hunt, the newest sponsor of the podcast.
No. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week, me making the maps, right?
Yeah, we got to talk about it a little bit more, man. It's official.
Yeah, kind of.
So listen, Andrew's gone full blown, guys. Andrew is making some legit custom maps. He's over here, he's cringing, but it's because he's just awkward with it.
I know.
But no, so Andrew's actually making custom maps, which is cool because first off, you're able to make some custom maps for us, which I greatly appreciate.
We're sitting here looking at it. That's some freaking detail right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, like I mean, detailed that you're not finding anywhere else. But anyways, we've had quite a few people message in and get some custom maps, either digitally or actually had one guy get that laminated map, which looked freaking cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and, and Tiffany shipped it to him.
Oh,
man. Should we tell that story on here?
Yeah, Tiffany won't mind.
Yeah, Tiffany won't mind. So that was like one of the first ones I did. And so I quote this guy and we get the price worked out and everything. And I get this laminated map and I'm working on Friday and Tiffany is out like going and doing stuff. And so I was like, "Hey babe, will you go ship this map?" And I gave her the address and everything. And she goes out and she goes and ships it.
Hold on. How much did you think it was going to be?
Like $12.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so then she goes out. She sends me a picture of the receipt, and it was $54 to ship a paper map. I was like, "What did you do?" Dude, I almost fell out of my chair. I was a little bit
Dude,
upset.
you texted me. You was like, I can't believe. Like, let me read your text message because it was hilarious. I saw this and I instantly had to call you just because I'm like, what happened? You're like, dude, I don't know. She just, let's see. I sent Tiffany the map to go ship, and she just came back and sent me this. She's like, I almost crapped my pants, but he didn't say crap.
Yeah, $54. And so like the guy who I made the map for, I'm like, I'm not gonna charge him $54 for shipping, so I just had to eat it. So it cost me $5 to make that map and print it and ship it to him when it was all said and done. So
Pricing structure's changing.
So I instantly went bankrupt. Instantly.
No, but you are making some freaking cool maps, and the cool thing is you were able to find some new imagery that I've never seen before, which is cool. We're looking at it right now. You got is it a KML file?
No, this is a TIFF, file, TIFF, like my wife's name. But no, that's LiDAR.
Oh, okay.
That's LiDAR.
Dude, that's beautiful.
Oh, dude, it is. And so one thing that I do, so I can do like the 5-foot topo lines and everything. And then also this is color-coded LiDAR. So basically it's a gradient where you have like a color moving to another color and like it represents elevation. So here you've got like green moving to white. And so the green is your lower elevation and the white moves to your higher elevation. It looks good for this stuff where it's hilly, but where it really shines is flatland stuff. It's like the Delta, Florida.
Andrew's been
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so anyone in the flatlands, oh my God, you need to look at this.
Holy
because
crap.
Andrew did one for the Delta, which is like 2 foot of elevation change over like a mile and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And it is like you can see the most subtle little features.
It's ridiculous. And it's beautiful. It's cool. It looks so cool. Like the river channels. Like I thought about printing it and like framing it and hanging it in my office. It looks that cool. But yeah, well, I've had a bunch of people ask if you're interested in a map and you live in flat country. I'm talking like pancake flat. A topo map doesn't really work. I can make one. I can make one with half a foot contour lines, but when you do that, it looks like spaghetti, and it doesn't look good because a lot of times, especially after I did the ones in the Delta and kind of saw like what that land actually looks like, you might have like a 3 foot elevation rise, but it's strung out over like a quarter or a half mile. And so you end up with like really long topo lines that don't make much sense. But when you do this LiDAR, basically it's like a 3D model almost.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't even know how you
Yeah,
describe
it's a scanned image of the ground, and you're looking at it.
the bare earth.
Yeah, the bare earth, no trees, so you can really understand what the topographical features looks like. And in flatland, I mean, literally the most subtle high ground shows up.
Yes.
I mean, stuff you would never see on aerial ever.
Oh, absolutely
Topo map,
not.
you wouldn't see it.
Absolutely not.
And it's like
It's way better than a topo map.
like you see like these little creeks going through, and then all of a sudden you see this high ground. Like it almost looks like small levees just running off of it at different angles. You're like, holy crap, that's what they're going to be running on, going through the swamp and going through the marsh.
It's cool because the Delta is like this intimidating place. It's such a cool place. I'd love to go deer hunt it because it's just neat. But I've always been like, man, I don't even know. But I made that map and I was like, dang, like I feel a little bit more confident.
That's exactly where I would hunt. Yeah.
Yeah, because like you see it and it's cool because you can see where the river channel used to be and where the river channel is actually migrated.
And we're backfield, yeah.
Yeah, and where it backfilled, especially in the bends. And so you'll see what's really interesting, and this I haven't done one in like Central Florida yet. I think I'm about to, but like for these delta areas, what was real interesting is that the higher ground is right on the banks. And so that tells me that it's like sediment being deposited is building up that land, where you go inland kind of away from the water and you start losing elevation. But in places where the river channel like migrated, like north or south, and it kind of moved away from its old channel, it leaves like bands going through there. And there's one spot in there where there's a very noticeable land bridge going right smack across the swamp, and everything around it's low, and it goes right across, and it's like 3 feet higher maybe, if that. And I'm like, that's where I'd check out first.
It's so noticeable, though, when you do the LiDAR. Like, on a topo map, like you said, it would look like spaghetti. It'd look like it runs all over the place. It'd be hard to read. But anybody could read this LiDAR maps that you're making.
Yeah.
So,
dude, I'm awkward when it comes to like trying to sell stuff or whatever. But I'm not just saying this because I want you to purchase a map from me. I'm just saying, like, dude, there is nothing out there that shows that land better than that LiDAR stuff that I'm making.
And Andrew is a master at it, especially if you're hunting like a club or a lease, or even as a big private or public parcel, because you can make it for pretty much anywhere depending on what the imagery is looking like. Yeah, it is really impressive, guys. I'm not gonna lie. And again, I think when you actually see some of these photos, I think Andrew might be posting sometime this week of some of this flatland stuff. You flatlanders are going. You're gonna go crazy.
You're gonna wet your pants.
Yes, you are gonna be like, this is what I've been needing for the last 20 years.
Dude, I'm serious. It is. God, I hate this. It's like it's a game changer, bro. Just like my saddle.
Well, now you just got to work on the $150,000 app.
Yeah. If anybody out there, if you're like a millionaire and you're listening to this podcast and you want to invest in something, hit me up.
Andrew's got the setup.
Yeah. So that's the thing is like if I had a bunch of money, I could make a bunch more money, but I don't have any money, so I'm kind of dead in the water. But for this stuff right here, I mean, I can make this into a paper map. I can. I'm playing around making it into a geotiff, which is basically just a picture that's georeferenced. So, which means you could like open it up on Google Earth and it drops it right where it's supposed to be, and it's like an overlay. And you can turn up and down the transparency so you can like see through it. So it's pretty cool. And then the print maps too and everything. It's pretty slick. So we posted it on social media, and I got blown up. I mean, bad. So I made a page to keep it like separate out of everything. So it's called Geo Hunt Custom Maps. Just go look it up, give it a follow. If you want a map, message me, and we'll see what we can do.
Perfect.
Customizable, everything about them. We can do whatever contour interval. We can do LiDAR. We can do We can put your roads in, property lines, anything.
Green fields if you're
Green
private.
fields, clubhouse,
Cutovers.
cutover, literally anything.
Anything imaginable. You
Yep.
know, custom topo line references for like the different height elevations.
Yep.
Because that's one thing I saw you did on one of them that was really sick in the orange. And I was like, oh, because like you labeled like every like 30 feet or something. Because
Yeah.
there's 5-foot intervals, maybe every 20 feet.
Yeah.
And it was like you could like spot on and see exactly where everything was at, which is great.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, killer.
LiDAR stuff's cool, man. When I made that one in the Delta, I think that we found a daggum Indian mound.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, the guy's gonna go check it out. I think this weekend, so maybe. But yeah, like because like I said, so that one it's like a color gradient, and it's all flat, and so it looks like it's kind of like pastel looking colors, just like greens and blues, like. But then red is like higher elevation, so the map goes from like blue to kind of greenish to red, for like for the elevations. And there's one spot where it's just like fire engine red. I was like, what the heck is that? And I mean, you can't miss it. Like, it's just like screaming at you. And so I zoom in, I'm like, that looks like a freaking mound. So they're gonna check it out.
Dude, look at you.
Cool.
You're finding some what do you call it?
Like Native American mound.
That was the term I was going to use. I'm trying to think.
Well, say
archaeology.
Well, I was about to say. So, if anybody, there's been some articles published about like them finding South American villages like in the jungle, like old like Aztec or Mayan ruins and everything.
This is what they use.
This is the exact same thing they use.
Same technology.
The exact same. It's bare Earth data. So they go fly a rainforest, and it basically just takes away the trees, and you see an exact model of what the ground looks like. And when I did a podcast with Hunt the Land about mapping, which should drop later this week.
I think on Wednesday they said.
Yeah, on Wednesday. So y'all go check that out. We talk a lot about maps and stuff, and like some cool resources that you can go and get like daily satellite imagery and all that kind of stuff.
Andrew spilt the whole beans, man.
Oh, dude, I laid it all out there.
How long was that show? How long was it?
Hour and a half.
There's an hour and a half worth of mapping that is top notch.
Deep dive mapping.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're a map nerd like me, check it out. But yeah, dude, same stuff as they use in South America, the exact same stuff, which is really cool. So, yeah, man, that's kind of what I got going on with that. If you want a map, hit me up.
Yeah, no, for sure. Again, I've been very impressed with it ever since like you've been kind of diving down the rabbit hole and like really getting this stuff dialed in. It's again, like you said, it's hard not to say it, but kind of game changing. Especially, I see it being fantastic, especially if you're hunting like specific parcels of public land, and you want like specific maps that no one else has right now, or if you have like a big club release. This would be freaking killer for it.
Yeah.
And seeing stuff that, especially in places that have a lot of cutovers and stuff, seeing these subtle terrain features that you cannot see on a topographical map. At least with like 20-foot elevation lines in the southeast.
Yeah, and it's kind of a mix. You gotta figure out what the right mix is, because it's kind of like, are you wanting super fine topo lines where you're gonna see like little tiny benches and little saddles,
and I mean see like logging roads.
That's
the coolest thing, dude. Well, you did the elevation lines. You can literally see the logging road with the topo map. Like no LiDAR, you can. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
And then you can do the LiDAR, and you can see like freaking rocks and little ditches and all kinds of crap on the side of these hills.
Look at that logging road there.
This logging road, which this is an audio show, but I'll have to post a picture. Look, also it's on Instagram, like just GeoHunt Custom Maps. I'm going to post pictures so you guys can see what we're talking about. But like right here, we're looking at something, and I know for a fact, like this is, where this is. Mm-hmm. But this was cut like a long time ago.
Oh,
there's a logging road
that is
100% not visible on aerials or topo, but you can see it on this LiDAR.
It's still cut.
And it's just it's so faint, and that's probably an old logging trail. And I've done some up in a Bankhead where stuff hadn't been logged in a long time, and there's still, you can see logging roads from probably the 30s and 40s in there that are still just cut through there, and you can see them on the LiDAR. You can't see them with anything else. So it's really useful because, I pulled up this spot right here. So when it comes to community scrapes, I found one right there, like what we were talking about. There's a big community scrape right there last year.
Okay.
And I walked all up and down this, and I had to pop up over this hill. And as you can see, there's actually like a rock band at the top of this hill.
Hey, fade back out. I just want to try to see what I'm looking at.
There's the pond we tried to go to the other day. That pond.
Wait, hold
This
on.
is that. But there's like these rock bands right there, and the point I'm getting at,
Oh, wow.
which again I know people can't see this, but there's like all these rock bands at the top of this hill.
What's a rock band?
Yeah, dude.
No, what's a rock band?
Oh, just like a bluff. It's
I
not
thought
a
you meant
bluff.
not a video game.
What are you talking about? Oh,
Rock band. A joke. Okay, it's a dad joke. Keep going. All right, but what is a rock band? Give us.
like it's like a bluff, but it's not very big. It's like 3 or 4 feet tall. So it doesn't show up on anything except this LiDAR. I walked all over this, and I did not know it was there. I hit one of these gaps, actually this gap right here that the deer are using. But I didn't know, I knew that there was like kind of a little bit right there, but I didn't know that it stretched the whole top of the hill. So that's funneling those things hard. I mean, there's some sign in there. We need to go scout it ASAP. But I literally didn't know that was there until during the episode. I made this little map and started looking at it because I wanted to be looking at this while he was explaining what he was doing to kill all these deer. But that right there is what I'm talking about, man. It's like I walked all over it, and it's kind of like, I mean, it's like what they're doing with the jungles in South America, trying to find these ruins. You might walk all over it and never see it because it's so densely forested. You might, and it's the same thing here in these thickets.
Hold on.
So I didn't know that was there until this.
Wait, fade back out. I'm trying to get no. I'm trying to get a better idea of what we're looking at. Where we're looking at right here.
There's the pond we tried to go to.
Oh,
See?
I see. Okay, now
See?
I see exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
Wow.
So right there.
Wow.
I'm talking a Mac Daddy of a scrape, son.
Wow.
Big old scrape. Fresh rubs in there, all in bow season. It was a good looking spot.
Okay.
But I only got to hunt it once because I wasn't hunting around here much last year. But now I'll be hunting here a whole lot. So that's a spot, man. I'm telling you. But yeah, that's the whole mapping spiel. So
Beautiful.
beautiful. Yeah, if you hunt, and if you're looking to hunt big cypress for turkeys,
Yeah,
hunt in South Florida.
Yeah, hey, anybody's been like drawing tags for any of like these quota hunts anywhere, like anywhere in like the southeast or really the country, depending on the area, you can reach out to Andrew or reach out to Geo Hunt, and he can probably get you a map there. Especially some of the quota hunts. I saw some guys drawing some deer quota hunts in Florida, which are pretty freaking cool places.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're looking possibly for getting a leg up on the competition for who else is hunting out there, this would be a huge help.
Yeah.
And also those big turkey hunters, again, these Osceola guys, if you want to see something where, kind of maybe see where the flood waters are normally at and see where that high ground is in the swamp, Andrew can hook you up.
It'll be ridiculous. I'm going to make that one just because I want to see it, and then people can buy it if they want.
Yeah, save you about 8 days of hunting, as Mark Turner said.
Yeah, Mark's like, I'd pay $300 for that. Saved him 2 days or whatever. But yeah, anybody can message me, but it would be better if you could message the Geo Hunt page. So that just, again, to keep things kind of organized and like help me keep up with it, because there was a lot of messages coming in. But I need to know your area so I know if the data's available, because like I said before, one day it'll be available for everywhere, but right now it's kind of patchy. I mean, there's a pretty good coverage of the South and a lot of the North too, except Ohio. If you're in Ohio, you're just pretty much out of luck. There's not much there, but every other state's got pretty good coverage. So I just need to know where your property is. I can make sure that we've got the data that we need, and if it's there, then make anything you want. Yeah, the one I sold that Tiffany shipped for $54. That guy's in a lease with a couple other people, and he bought the map, kind of get a leg up on the competition in the lease. I bet.
So he didn't. Oh, it's not even for anyone else in the lease.
I don't think so.
Dang.
I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
He's trying to. I see.
Dude, I was drooling looking at his map too. Like after I made it, there's all these like. You press when you start making the contours and it's like filling in, you can watch it as it's filling in, and like it's drawing these lines, and instantly I'm like seeing these like little benches like below these thick areas. I'm like, oh, right there. I was like, man, I'd like to hunt that property. It looks good for real. Anyways,
that's what happens when you get 5-foot contour lines in
yeah,
hill country.
You see some good stuff.
Awesome. All right, you got anything else we need to cover?
Negatory.
No, dude, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been a fun episode. Again with Don. Can't thank Don enough for coming on. And I appreciate everybody listening to the show. Please, hey, like always, leave us a review. Actually, hey, pull up your phone real quick and find. You're talking about you wanted to read out some reviews, and we've had a bunch of them come in lately. So anyone listening right now, please leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen at. we actually it's cool to kind of get some feedback on like what y'all are liking right now and kind of some of the topics, and also maybe some future topics as well that y'all would like us to cover. Which we've been listening. We got a really sweet swamp guy coming on hopefully next week.
Oh yeah.
But Andrew, we're gonna try to get into reading some of these reviews. At least on a weekly episode, read off a couple of them because we appreciate the feedback. And also, please share the show. Share episodes with buddies. Share the show with buddies. We've had a lot of cool people message us, but hey, I just found out about you guys like a month ago because somebody shared it with me. And again, like I said on one episode, like one guy was like, I'm 17 episodes deep. So he's probably 25 now.
Yeah.
And it's cool how it's just changing people's perspective. And again, we're trying to promote public land hunting and kind of getting people out there. So we're trying to do the best we can.
Here's one I like from JHow9316. This is an awesome show. I listen to every deer episode. Only negative thing I have to say is y'all are terrible at keeping the names of the WMAs y'all hunt out of y'all's mouth. Why, yes, we are. Other than that, keep up the wonderful content. It would be cool, since Jacob likes crappie fishing so much, if y'all would do an episode or two in the spring on that.
Okay. Yeah, Adrian Farley told me like he wants to do like a big like sit down, how to scat out for crappie. Like,
I would love to know that because Adrian's catching crappie in places where I'd like to go catch some crappie because I live close to him. I don't have to drive all the way to Gunnersville.
Oh yeah.
Here's another one by Charlie Stack. I think that's the same dude who shares us on Instagram like every week. Charlie, you're awesome, dude.
OG.
Yeah, you're the OG. You're awesome. He said great podcast, 10 stars. My favorite podcast by far. I probably listen to 10 to 15 different podcasts out there, and this is by far the best as it relates to the South. These guys aren't afraid to dig deep on topics, tactics, and experience from proven big buck killers, which is what other podcasts don't do. Details kill big bucks. A broad, generic overview doesn't. Andrew and Jacob are killing it. Keep up the good work, guys. You can always tell they're excited and really enjoy what they do. Yeah, I wish y'all could have seen us when Don started talking about bumping up. We were like, oh my gosh.
They were like fist bumping. We're jumping up and down.
Oh, dude, we had to move the mics. We're like, we got to calm down. We got to calm down. Oh, man. Here we go. I like this guy. Austin Tillman said, hell of a podcast. Live in Middle Georgia on Alabama line, and this podcast has everything to do with where I hunt. Been listening for a long time. I work 12-hour night shifts, and it makes it go by fast. Glad we can help you get through your workday, buddy. Listen to every deer hunting episode at least 5 times, and whoever gave 1 star was probably scared of thickets. Welcome to the thicket. Yes. And then Jason O'Berry said, great show from South Georgia. Thanks,
awesome.
Jason.
Awesome. Again, we really appreciate the feedback. Again, if you've been enjoying the shows we've been doing lately, again, we're trying to bring the best content as possible for you all, especially focus on the public land hunter. Focus in the Southeast, but also, try to apply it in other places as well. Again, please share it with a buddy. Leave us a review. We really, really do appreciate it, especially if you leave it on iTunes or Apple Music Play or Apple Podcast. What do they call? What's that app called now?
Apple Podcast.
Apple Podcast.
You're overthinking it.
Yeah, I guess I am. Dang it, Don. I got to listen to you. All right, perfect. Well, hey, guys, once again, we appreciate y'all for listening. Y'all have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday.